The dusty winds of Kepler 442c howled across the barren landscape as Dr. Min-jun Park knelt beside the strange metal structure half buried in volcanic ash. His scanner beeped frantically, detecting energy signatures that should not exist on this dead world. The readings made no sense. This planet had been lifeless for thousands of years. Commander Zexhai, you need to see this. Min-jun called to the tall reptilian officer, who stood guard nearby. The Vorthak military leader approached with heavy steps, his scaled armor clinking softly in the thin atmosphere. What have you found, Doctor? Zexhai's voice carried the authority of someone used to commanding respect. His yellow eyes studied the partially exposed structure with interest. Min-jun brushed more ash away from the metal surface. Strange symbols covered the smooth material, and burn marks scarred the edges. This is not natural. Someone built this. Someone destroyed it too. Dr. Yuki Tanaka hurried over from her excavation site 20 meters away. Her human features were streaked with dust, but her dark eyes sparkled with excitement. Min-jun, my scanners are picking up similar readings all around this area. The fourth member of their team floated closer on shimmering energy fields. Scholar Veltar belonged to the Quellian race, beings of pure energy who took translucent humanoid forms when interacting with solid matter. Her voice sounded like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. The energy patterns are familiar, Veltar said thoughtfully. I have studied portal technology for 3 centuries. This resembles ancient gateway systems, but the design is far more advanced than anything in our historical records. Min-jun felt his heart race. Portal technology was restricted knowledge, controlled by the Galactic Council. Only the most advanced civilizations had ever mastered it, and most of those species had vanished long ago. He ran his hands over the metal surface, noting details that made him uncomfortable. The construction methods looked familiar somehow. We need to clear more of this structure, Yuki said. She activated her excavation tools and began carefully removing layers of ash and hardened volcanic rock. As more of the object became visible, its true size became apparent. The structure stretched at least 50 meters in diameter. Its circular shape was broken and twisted in several places, as if massive explosions had torn it apart. Power conduits lay scattered around the site like mechanical intestines. Whatever had happened here, someone had wanted to make sure this portal would never work again. Commander Zexhai contacted his ship in orbit. This is Ground Team 1. We need additional archaeological equipment and security personnel. We have found something significant. Something. Climb. As the team worked through the afternoon, they uncovered more pieces of the puzzle. The portal had been built into a natural crater, using the planet's geological structure for support. Whoever designed it understood both advanced engineering and practical construction. Min-jun noticed something that made his hands shake. Along one section of intact framework, he found markings that looked like human engineering symbols. Not modern human writing, but the older technical notation his grandmother had taught him. The symbols that humans had used 50 years ago, before they disappeared from the galaxy. Yuki, he whispered, calling his colleague over. Look at this section. Do you recognize these markings? Yuki studied the symbols carefully. Her face went pale. These are human construction codes. But that's impossible. Humans left the galaxy peacefully. They had no portal technology. Before Min-jun could respond, Veltar's excited voice drew their attention. I have found something remarkable. There is a beacon still broadcasting from the central hub. The team gathered around the energy being as she interfaced directly with the ancient technology. Her translucent form flickered as she processed the data streams. The signal is weak but continuous, Veltar reported. It broadcasts in 17 different galactic languages, including several extinct dialects. The message repeats every 12 hours. What does it say? Commander Zexhai demanded. Veltar was quiet for several minutes as she worked through the translations. When she finally spoke, her voice carried a note of concern that none of them had heard before. The message is a warning. It says, The human fleet will return when the stars align in the 7th configuration. They will reclaim what was taken. Evacuation protocols enacted. All allied species should prepare for their arrival. The Devourers come behind us. We return to save you all. Makes us. The silence that followed was broken only by the wind and the distant rumble of volcanic activity. Min-jun felt ice form in his stomach. This contradicted everything the Galactic Council had told them about humanity's departure. That cannot be correct, Commander HFY said firmly. Humans left voluntarily. They found new worlds beyond our borders and chose to settle there peacefully. The Council records are very clear on this point. Yuki and Min-jun exchanged glances. Both of them had grown up hearing different stories from their grandparents. Stories about restrictions and economic blockades. Stories about humans being pushed out rather than choosing to leave. Veltar continued her analysis of the beacon signal. There are deeper layers of data encrypted within the message. The portal shows signs of recent activation attempts. Someone has been trying to use this gateway within the last few standard months. Min-jun's scanner began beeping again. He checked the readings and found something that made his blood run cold. The portal's core systems are still intact. Damaged, but intact. If someone restored power and repaired the broken sections, this gateway could still function. Commander HFY immediately activated his communication equipment. Command. This is HFY. We need a full military survey team and security lockdown on this site. We have found operational portal technology of unknown origin. As the sun set over the desolate landscape, casting long shadows across the ruined portal, Min-jun couldn't shake the feeling that they had uncovered something far more dangerous than ancient ruins. The warning message repeated in his mind. The humans were coming back, but why? And what were these devourers mentioned in the beacon? The answers would have to wait for tomorrow's excavation. But deep in his heart, Min-jun suspected that their discovery would change the galaxy forever. Some secrets were too big to stay buried, no matter how much ash covered them. 3 days of careful excavation had transformed their small archaeological site into a military compound. Commander HFY watched as additional Vorthak soldiers established defensive positions around the portal ruins. The Galactic Council had ordered maximum security for the site, but they still insisted this was just a precautionary measure. Dr. Min-jun Park worked alongside the new team of specialists, carefully removing debris from the portal's central hub. Each piece they uncovered told a story of deliberate destruction. Someone had used military-grade explosives to disable this gateway, but they had been careful not to destroy it completely. The damage patterns are very specific, Doctor. Yuki Tanaka explained to the assembled team. Whoever did this knew exactly which systems to disable. They wanted to stop the portal from working, but they also wanted it to be repairable. Scholar Veltar hovered over a collection of data cores they had recovered from the portal's memory banks. Her energy form flickered as she interfaced with the ancient technology. These storage devices contain vast amounts of information. Much of it is corrupted, but I am beginning to extract coherent records. Min-jun paused in his work and approached Veltar. What kind of records? Historical files, communication logs, technical specifications? Veltar replied. And something else. Personal messages from humans to their families. Messages that speak of forced evacuation and great urgency. Commander HFY joined their conversation. His reptilian features showed skepticism. The official records state that humans left voluntarily. They found better worlds and chose to relocate their entire species. There was no conflict. Veltar's form brightened as she accessed more data. I am afraid the official records do not match what these files contain. Let me show you what I have found. The air above the data cores shimmered, and holographic images began to form. The team watched as scenes from 50 years ago played out before them. They saw human ships being turned away from trade stations. They watched as economic restrictions strangled human colonies. They witnessed military blockades preventing human expansion into new systems. "This cannot be authentic," Commander HFY protested. "The Galactic Council would never act in such a manner." Min-jun felt sick as he watched the recordings. "My grandmother told me stories like this. I thought they were just bitter memories from an old woman." But she was telling the truth. Yuki nodded sadly. "My parents spoke of shortages and restrictions. They said humans were being pushed out systematically. I never believed them completely." The holographic display showed more disturbing scenes. Secret meetings between Vorthok, Quellian, and Andorian leaders. Documents outlining plans to limit human technological development. Economic warfare designed to force humanity to leave the galaxy. The three major species formed an alliance, Veltar explained. They feared human adaptability and rapid advancement. Humans had gone from primitive to spacefaring in just a few centuries. Other species took thousands of years for the same progress. Commander HFY stared at the evidence with growing horror. "My own species participated in this conspiracy. We betrayed beings who had done nothing wrong except learn quickly." More files revealed the human response to their treatment. Rather than fight a war they could not win, human leaders had chosen a different path. They built the portal network in secret, planning an organized withdrawal from the galaxy. Humans did not just run away, Veltar continued. They explored beyond our galactic borders. They found something significant on the other side. The data cores contained fragments of reports from human exploration fleets. They spoke of contact with other species who had fled similar persecution. They described alliance building and technological sharing on a vast scale. Most importantly, they warned of something called the Devourers. The Devourers appear to be a nomadic species that consumes entire galaxies, Veltar explained. They travel between galactic clusters, stripping worlds of all resources and life. According to these records, they follow predictable patterns and timing. Min-jun studied the astronomical data included in the reports. The humans discovered that our galaxy was next on the Devourers' schedule. They tried to warn the Council, but the same species that had exiled them refused to listen. Yuki found communications between human leaders from the final days before their departure. The messages spoke of desperate attempts to share vital intelligence with the Council. Every request had been denied or ignored. "So humans left to prepare," Commander HFY said slowly. "They spent 50 years building defenses and alliances to protect a galaxy that had rejected them." Veltar accessed more recent files from the portal's systems. The beacon's warning about the 7th configuration refers to a specific stellar alignment. It is an astronomical event that occurs every 2,847 years. The alignment affects hyperspace travel patterns across our entire galactic region. Min-jun's hands trembled as he performed the calculations. "When is the next 7th configuration?" "According to these files, it begins in 73 standard days," Veltar replied. The team stood in stunned silence. Everything they had been told about human departure was a lie. Humanity had not abandoned their galaxy out of wanderlust. They had been forced out by prejudice and fear. Now they were returning to save the very species that had betrayed them. Commander HFY activated his communication equipment with shaking claws. "Command, I need to speak with Galactic Council leadership immediately. We have uncovered information of critical importance. What will you tell them?" Yuki asked. HFY looked at the evidence scattered around the excavation site. "The truth. All of it. And I will recommend that we prepare to beg for human forgiveness when they return." As if summoned by his words, alarms began sounding from their orbital monitoring stations. Long-range sensors had detected massive energy signatures approaching from deep space. The signatures matched no known galactic technology. Min-jun felt both terror and hope as he realized what this meant. The humans were coming home early. The question was whether they would arrive in time to save a galaxy that had never deserved their protection. The portal beneath their feet began to hum with increasing energy. Somehow, it was reacting to the approaching fleet. The humans were still connected to their old network, and they were coming back to reclaim it. The space above Kepler 442c rippled like water as the first human ships emerged from hyperspace. Commander HFY watched from the observation deck as vessels unlike anything in current galactic design materialized in perfect formation. Their hulls gleamed with unknown metals, and energy fields surrounded them like protective cocoons. Dr. Min-Jun Park stood beside the Vorthak commander, his heart pounding as he witnessed humanity's return. The ships were beautiful and terrifying at the same time. 50 years of isolation had transformed human technology beyond recognition. "They're not responding to our communication attempts," reported Lieutenant Kex, HFY's communications officer. "All frequencies are being ignored." Dr. Yuki Tanaka joined them on the observation deck, her face pale with worry. "Maybe they don't want to talk to us. After what we did to them, I wouldn't blame them for considering us enemies." The lead human vessel, a massive ship that dwarfed the largest Council dreadnoughts, moved toward the planet with graceful precision. Its approach was neither aggressive nor friendly. It simply radiated the quiet confidence of superior technology. Scholar Veltar materialized beside them, her energy form flickering with excitement. The portal is responding to their presence. Systems that have been dormant for 50 years are activating automatically. The humans retain full control over their gateway network. A new voice crackled over the communication system, clear and authoritative. "This is Captain Sarah Chen of the Human Defense Fleet. We request immediate communication with Galactic Council representatives regarding the security of this sector." Commander HFY stepped forward to respond. "Captain Chen, this is Commander HFY of the Vorthak military. I have full authority to speak for the Council in this matter. Commander, we will beam down a diplomatic team to discuss the current situation. Please ensure that Dr. Min-Jun Park and Dr. Yuki Tanaka are present for these discussions. We have monitored their work on the portal site." Min-Jun felt surprise and unease. How did the humans know about their team's composition? How long had they been watching? 20 minutes later, a column of blue light deposited 3 figures in the center of the excavation site. The lead figure was a woman in her 40s, wearing a uniform that managed to look both practical and elegant. Her dark hair was pulled back efficiently, and her eyes held the steady gaze of someone accustomed to making life-and-death decisions. "I am Captain Sarah Chen," she said, approaching the group with confident steps. "These are my advisors, Dr. James Kim and Commander Lisa Wong." Min-Jun noticed that all 3 humans appeared healthier and more vibrant than any humans he remembered from 50 years ago. Their technology had clearly advanced their medical capabilities, as well as their engineering. "Captain Chen," Commander HFY began carefully, "we have recently discovered evidence that contradicts our historical records regarding humanity's departure from this galaxy. We understand now that your people were forced to leave." Captain Chen's expression did not change. "Commander, we appreciate your acknowledgement, but we are not here to discuss the past. We have returned because this galaxy faces an existential threat that Council leadership has chosen to ignore." Dr. Yuki stepped forward. "Captain, we found records in the portal system mentioning something called the Devourers. Can you tell us about this threat?" 10. Captain Chen activated a holographic projector from her uniform. The air filled with images of space battles and devastated worlds. The Devourers are a nomadic species that has consumed 17 galaxies over the past 100,000 years. They strip worlds of all organic and mineral resources, leaving behind only empty space. The holographic display showed massive biomechanical ships that seemed to be part machine, part living creature. They moved through space like a plague, converting everything they touched into more of themselves. "Our exploration fleets encountered Devourer scout groups 12 years ago, Dr. Kim explained. We have been tracking their main fleet's approach ever since. They will reach the outer rim of this galaxy within 6 months. Commander HFY stared at the images with growing horror. Why did you not warn the Council immediately? Captain Chen's voice carried a note of bitter irony. We tried, Commander. We sent 17 different diplomatic missions over the past decade. Each one was turned away without a hearing. The Council declared us extinct and refused all contact. Minjun felt ashamed of his species' stupidity. Captain, what can we do? How do we fight something like this? The portal network is our first line of defense, Captain Chen replied. It provides early warning capabilities and allows rapid deployment of forces across the entire galaxy. Without it, conventional fleets cannot move quickly enough to respond to Devourer attacks. Commander Lisa Wong stepped forward. The sabotage to this portal and others like it has left the galaxy defenseless. Devourer scout fleets are already probing the outer rim systems. 3 colonies have gone silent in the past month. Commander HFY felt ice form in his stomach. 3 colonies? We received no distress signals. 1. 2. 1. Because the Devourers don't allow distress signals, Captain Chen said grimly. They consume communication networks first, then transportation infrastructure, then everything else. Scholar Veltar floated closer to the human delegation. Captain, your people spent 50 years preparing for this threat. What do you need from us? Captain Chen looked around at the assembled team. We need the Galactic Council to acknowledge their mistakes and accept human leadership in the defense effort. We have allies from 14 different galaxies who are prepared to help, but only if the Council agrees to full cooperation. And if they refuse? Minjun asked. Captain Chen's expression hardened. Then we will evacuate as many beings as possible to our sanctuary systems and leave the Council species to face the Devourers alone. We will not sacrifice our allies to save people who still consider us inferior. The portal beneath their feet began humming with increasing energy. More human ships were arriving through hyperspace, their advanced sensors already mapping Devourer infiltration routes. Commander HFY, Captain Chen said formally, I need you to choose. Will you help us save this galaxy? Or will you follow Council orders to arrest us as illegal intruders? HFY looked at the evidence of Council betrayal scattered around the excavation site. He thought of the 3 colonies that had already been consumed, while his leaders ignored the warnings. He thought of the billions of innocent beings who would die if the Devourers faced no organized resistance. Captain Chen, he said firmly, I place my forces under your command. My loyalty is to protecting life, not to preserving the pride of corrupt politicians. Captain Chen smiled for the first time since her arrival. Thank you, Commander. Now let's begin preparing for the fight of our lives. The portal network comes online in 48 hours, and the Devourers will not wait for our convenience. The emergency session of the Galactic Council was unlike anything in recorded history. Representatives from all major species gathered in the Great Chamber on Council Prime, their faces showing mixtures of fear, anger, and shame. At the center of the circular hall, Captain Sarah Chen stood with quiet dignity as accusations and denials flew around her. Dr. Minjun Park watched from the observation gallery, alongside Commander HFY and Dr. Yuki Tanaka. The evidence they had discovered at the portal site was now displayed on massive screens throughout the chamber. No one could deny the truth anymore. The humans stand before us demanding leadership of our military forces, declared Councillor Vrextal, the Andorian representative. His blue skin had turned darker with anger. They who abandoned us 50 years ago now expect us to follow their commands. Captain Chen's voice carried clearly through the chamber's acoustics. Counselor, we did not abandon you. You exiled us through economic warfare and military blockades. The evidence is undeniable. High Counselor Yelnara of the Quellian delegation floated forward on her energy fields. Her translucent form flickered with what Minjun had learned to recognize as embarrassment. Captain Chen, even if past actions were regrettable, surely you understand our concerns about human expansion. Your species advanced too quickly. It was concerning. Concerning enough to commit genocide? Doctor, Yuki asked from the gallery, her voice carrying across the chamber. Because that's what you attempted. You tried to slowly strangle humanity until we had no choice but to leave. Counselor Kethmos of the Vorthak delegation rose from his seat. His reptilian features showed deep shame. Captain Chen, on behalf of my species, I formally apologize for our participation in the conspiracy against humanity. We were wrong. A murmur of surprise rippled through the chamber. Apologies were rare in council politics, especially public ones. Captain Chen nodded acknowledgement. Thank you, Counselor Kethmos. But apologies cannot restore the 50 years we spent in exile, and they cannot stop the devourers who are now approaching your outer rim systems. The chamber fell silent as she activated her holographic display. Images of the destroyed colonies filled the air above their heads. The devastation was complete and horrifying. While you debated politics, 3 more systems have gone silent, Captain Chen continued. The devourers are not interested in your internal conflicts. They consume all life equally. Scholar Veltar materialized in the chamber's center, having been granted permission to address the council. Honored representatives, I have analyzed the portal network extensively. Without human cooperation, we have no early warning system and no rapid response capability. Conventional fleets cannot move quickly enough to counter devourer tactics. Counselor Vrextel stood again, his anger now mixed with desperation. Even assuming we accept human leadership, what proof do we have that they can succeed? They are only one species against a force that has consumed 17 galaxies. Captain Chen smiled grimly. We are no longer just one species, Counselor. Our exploration beyond this galaxy has been quite productive. The chamber's main display activated, showing star charts that none of the Council species recognized. The maps revealed vast alliance networks spanning multiple galactic clusters. The Human Defense Coalition now includes 47 different species from 14 galaxies, Dr. James Kim explained as he joined Chen at the podium. Each species contributed their unique capabilities to our collective defense. We have learned much from our allies. Round. Commander Lisa Wong stepped forward. 3 full battle fleets are already positioned at the edge of your galaxy. They include crystalline builders whose ships repair themselves, gas giant swimmers whose technology manipulates gravity, and void dancers who can phase in and out of normal space. Minjun felt awe and pride as he realized the scope of human achievement. While the Council species had stagnated in their prejudices, humanity had built an interstellar coalition. But we need the portal network, Captain Chen emphasized. Our allies' technology works best when combined with rapid deployment capabilities. The portals were designed specifically for this purpose. Quote, 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 quote. Counselor Yelnara's form brightened with sudden understanding. The portal network was never just about transportation. It was always meant to be a defense system. Correct, Captain Chen confirmed. The network can coordinate fleet movements across the entire galaxy instantaneously. It can also channel defensive energy from all connected systems to critical battle points. Alarms suddenly began sounding throughout the chamber. Emergency communication channels activated as reports flooded in from the outer rim. Devourer main force has entered the galaxy, announced the Council's military coordinator. They have bypassed our patrol fleets and are moving directly toward populated systems. Estimated time to first major colony: 18 hours. Panic erupted in the chamber as representatives began shouting orders and demands. Captain Chen raised her voice above the chaos. The debate is over, Commander Zexhai. Are your forces ready to coordinate with our fleet? Zexhai stood in the gallery. All Vorthak military units are under your command, Captain. One by one, other military commanders made similar declarations. The evidence of devourer approach had shattered remaining political resistance. But not all council members accepted the new reality. As the session dissolved into emergency planning, Min Jun noticed a group of extremist delegates meeting in a corner of the chamber. Their expressions showed dangerous desperation. "Yuki," he whispered to his colleague, "I think some of them would rather see the galaxy destroyed than accept human leadership." Dr. Yuki followed his gaze and felt the same concern. "We need to warn Captain Chen. If they sabotage the portal network now, we'll all die together." The next few hours would determine whether the galaxy's species could overcome 50 years of prejudice in time to face extinction together. Outside the chamber, Devourer scout ships were already probing the defenses of the first target worlds. The portal network hummed with increasing power as human technicians worked to restore full functionality. Soon, it would either become the salvation of the galaxy or the final monument to political stupidity. Time was running out, and the Devourers did not care about council politics. The portal network erupted with brilliant energy as the final battle began. Dr. Min Jun Park coordinated civilian evacuations from the command center, while massive fleets engaged Devourer forces across 17 different star systems simultaneously. The ancient gateway technology that had been abandoned for 50 years now served as the galaxy's lifeline. Captain Sarah Chen stood at the tactical display, orchestrating the defense with quiet precision. Around her, officers from dozen different species worked together for the first time in galactic history. The portal network allowed instant communication and troop movement between battle zones thousands of light-years apart. "Crystalline Builder Fleet is holding at Sector 7, reported Commander Lisa Wong. "Their self-repairing ships are absorbing massive damage, but staying in formation." Dr. Yuki Tanaka monitored the portal systems from her station. "Network stability is holding at 92%. The Quellian energy beings are providing excellent power regulation." Quote, "Number sent, but the Devourers proved more adaptable than anyone had expected. Their biomechanical ships began learning from each engagement, modifying their tactics and technology in real time. Worse, they had started to corrupt the portal network itself. Captain, we're detecting viral infiltration in the network's data streams," warned Dr. James Kim. "The Devourers are trying to turn our own system against us." Scholar Veltar materialized at the command center, her energy form flickering with strain. "I am attempting to implement emergency protocols, but the corruption is spreading faster than I can counter it. We need the original security codes." Min Jun felt his heart sink. The original security codes had been destroyed when the portals were sabotaged 50 years ago. Without them, they could not lock out the Devourer intrusion. Then he remembered something his grandmother had told him years ago. A story about hidden systems and emergency protocols that only the portal builders knew about. "Captain Chen, there might be another way," Min Jun said urgently. "The original portal builders left hidden systems in the network. My grandmother was part of the construction team. She told me about fail-safe protocols that could be activated in extreme situations." Captain Chen turned to him with desperate hope. "What kind of protocols?" "The entire network can be transformed into a weapon system," Min Jun explained. "But it requires sacrificing some portal connections to save the core network." The tactical display showed Devourer forces breaking through their defensive lines in 3 sectors. Time was running out. "Do it," Captain Chen ordered. "Commander Zexhai, evacuate all personnel from the Outer Rim portals. We're about to lose those systems anyway." Commander Zexhai's voice crackled over the communication system from his flagship. "Evacuation in progress. My people are ready to make whatever sacrifice is necessary." Min Jun connected to the portal network's central hub, following his grandmother's half-remembered instructions. Deep within the system's core, he found the hidden protocols that the original builders had installed as a last resort. "Warning," Veltar announced. "Activating these protocols will overload the network. We will lose 30% of all portal connections permanently." "Better to lose 30% than everything," Captain Chen replied grimly. The transformation began with a sound like reality tearing apart. Portal energy that had been used for transportation suddenly became weaponized. Focused beams of destructive force lanced out from the gateway network, striking Devourer ships across multiple star systems. The results were spectacular. Devourer bioships that had seemed invulnerable to conventional weapons dissolved under the portal network's assault. Their adaptive defenses could not counter an attack that came from the fabric of space-time itself. But the cost was enormous. Portal after portal overloaded and went dark as the network channeled all its power into the weapon systems. Entire sectors lost their rapid transportation capabilities forever. "It's working," Dr. Yuki reported with exhausted relief. Devourer main force is retreating from the core systems. Captain Chen watched the tactical display as enemy forces pulled back toward the galactic rim. They're not defeated, just temporarily driven off. They'll adapt and return. Scholar Veltar's form was barely visible now, her energy nearly exhausted from maintaining the network. The Devourers have learned our defensive capabilities. Next time they will be prepared. The Veltars with Relect from with you Tumant. Commander Zex High appeared on the command center's communication screen. "Captain, our combined fleet has inflicted severe losses on their advance forces. But you're right. They're regrouping rather than retreating permanently." Minjun studied the portal network's new configuration. The weapon conversion had created something unprecedented. A galaxy-wide defense grid that could strike any target instantly. But it was fragile and could not be used often without destroying the entire system. "We've bought time," Captain Chen said to the assembled officers. "Time to strengthen our alliances and prepare for the next attack. The Devourers will return, but they'll face a united galaxy next time." Dr. Yuki approached Minjun with a tired smile. "Your grandmother would be proud. Her stories saved us all." Minjun nodded, thinking of the old woman who had carried the secret of the portal builders for so many years. She always said that human technology worked best when it protected others rather than conquering them. 1 year later, Minjun stood in his new office as the first Human Council liaison for Portal Network Administration. Through his window, he could see ships from 47 different species using the rebuilt portals for trade and cooperation. The galaxy had changed dramatically since the Devourer attack. The Council's old prejudices had died in the face of extinction. Humans were no longer seen as dangerous outsiders, but as protectors who had risked everything to save people who had wronged them. Dr. Yuki led joint research teams studying Devourer technology, preparing defenses for the inevitable return. Commander Zex High commanded integrated fleets where humans fought alongside species that had once exiled them. Captain Chen had been elected as the first Supreme Commander of Galactic Defense, a position that gave her authority over all military forces in the galaxy. She had used that authority wisely, building bridges instead of seeking revenge. The portal network hummed with constant activity. No longer just a transportation system, but the nervous system of a truly united galactic civilization. The ancient gateways had fulfilled their original purpose, bringing different peoples together in the face of common threats. Minjun activated his portal to visit the human sanctuary worlds, preparing for another diplomatic mission. The bridge between humans and their former galaxy was stronger than ever, built on mutual respect rather than fear. Outside his office, species that had once been enemies worked together to build a better future. The Devourers would return someday, but they would face a galaxy that had learned to value cooperation over conquest. Humanity had come home not as conquerors but as teachers, showing that true strength came from protecting others rather than dominating them. The portal network would ensure that this lesson would never be forgotten again.